Chasing the rabbit, down we must go. Where does it end? Nobody knows.
This is Wonderland side quest number 4. Today we explore the life, claims, and mysterious death of a man who said the war for Earth's freedom was happening underground. If I had a nickel for every time someone said they were injured in a secret battle with aliens underground, I'd have 1 nickel. Which is weird because it happened once, and then he died. Phil Schneider said he was attacked by an alien with a laser weapon underground. I can't even get my kids to stop fighting over who touched the iPad first, so maybe we are doomed. They said he strangled himself with a rubber catheter tube, which makes sense if you ignore the missing documents, the erased photos, and the fact that he only had 3 fingers. Phil Schneider was a civil engineer and geologist who claimed to work for government contractors on high-security infrastructure projects, including deep underground military bases. Dumbs. Yeah, can't make this up. His father, Oscar Schneider, was a naval captain and allegedly involved in classified operations during World War II, including Operation Crossroads, the atomic test at Bikini Atoll. This is documented. Phil began giving public lectures in the mid-1990s and claimed that he was injured in a violent encounter with non-human entities in 1979. He worked on building at least 13 underground bases. The government had technology decades ahead of what the public knew, some of it non-terrestrial in its origin. And the U.S. had made deals with alien races, and these deals were no longer in humanity's favor. Kind of weird that that's also like part of the plot of an American Horror Story season. Weird. Schneider claimed he was working on a DUMS tunneling operation near Dulce, New Mexico, when workers accidentally breached an existing underground structure. What he said happened next. Gray aliens opened fire with directed energy weapons. He lost fingers, suffered a massive wound to his torso, and his genitals were mutilated, and was saved by a Green Beret who died. Over 60 soldiers and workers were killed. The reason that reference to his parts being mutilated is because the autopsy of his body did not note that in the autopsy notes, which some people, I don't know. That's a whole different rabbit hole. That's a new episode. But anyway, he described a facility involving joint human-alien experimentation, genetic manipulation, advanced tech transfer agreements, a war being fought not just between species, but between divergent human factions. Was this supported? Not directly, but Dulce Base has been the center of persistent rumors since the late 1980s. Paul Benowitz, an Air Force contractor, also claimed radio signals were coming from below Dulce. Tunneling technology Schneider described, like nuclear-powered tunnel boring machines, was later confirmed via patents and documents. So either he was deeply well-informed and paranoid, or telling the truth and targeted. Phil was found dead in his apartment on January 17, 1996. Cause of death, strangulation by rubber catheter tubing. Official ruling, suicide. But his supporters point out, he had missing fingers and limited mobility, making self-strangulation highly improbable, if not impossible. He had spoken publicly multiple times about being under surveillance and threats to his life. He claimed his files and lecture materials were being stolen. His widow later said documents, x-rays, and photographs of exotic metal samples vanished after his death. Not to mention the way that his body was found strangled. He was like face down on his wheelchair. Like out of his wheelchair, face down, catheter tubes wrapped around his neck. But he did it to himself. It's worth noting, Schneider had already survived several attempts on his life, including a car bombing. Wonder who does those to people they want to get rid of. It's not like we've never seen that before. So ask yourself, why would a man with such visibility who claimed to be too public to kill suddenly die while actively planning more lectures? Here's what we can confirm. Patents and DoD documents support the existence of nuclear tunneling machines, electromagnetic weapons, and underground infrastructure development. His father's naval and intelligence background is verifiable and included assignments with classified projects. The Dulce narrative predates Schneider and includes similar claims from Paul Benowitz and Gabe Valdez, a New Mexico State police officer who investigated cattle mutilations and strange lights in the area. AEGIS, EG&G, and Bechtel the corporations Phil referenced, are real contractors with deep ties to nuclear and aerospace black budget operations. So while there's no smoking gun, Schneider's details align with known technologies, verified contractors, and consistent whistleblower testimony. Maybe Phil Schneider was delusional, or traumatized, or weaving truth with paranoia. Oh, there's those chills again. But if that's true, then why did his documents disappear? Did his materials vanish after his death? Did his claims mirror later disclosures about underground bases, alien tech, and energy weapons? Did his life end the way he said it would? At worst, he was an unstable man with insider knowledge. At best, he was a whistleblower who told the truth and died for it. Full body chills. And some of you are going to think I'm weird and crazy for this, but when I get that, that's like some crazy confirmation stuff in my body. So take it or leave it. We may never know exactly what happened in those tunnels near Dulce, but when a man claims he was part of something unspeakable, describes future tech before it's public, names names, and then dies mysteriously, you don't ignore that. You don't believe blindly, but you don't look away either. Because if even half of what Phil Schneider said was true, the war for humanity didn't start on the surface, and it sure as hell won't end there. Reflection questions. Why would someone fake a story like this, knowing the ridicule and risk that would follow? What parts of Phil's story align with technology or tactics we now know exist? Why was his story so aggressively ignored, mocked, or memory holed after his death? The truth doesn't always come from polished mouths. It often comes from the wounded. This has been Wonderland Side Quest 4. We'll return to the main path soon, unless, of course, the tunnels have other plans.
Lost in Wonderland, when nothing's as it